Hello and welcome to the next edition of the RSLogix500 Micrologix Odyssey course. In this edition we'll be covering the following topics. I've got the project open up here, and when I opened up the comms tab and I said who active go online, I noticed that my RSLinx did not have the correct driver in it. And this is going to be a common thing. So RSLinx is required to go online with any Allen Bradley projects, any products, any PLCs, HMIs, that sort of thing. It is the base of Allen Bradley's communications. And right up here in the top, there is an RSWho where you can browse for things. And there's also configure drivers. If I go into the configure drivers, you can see that I have an Ethernet IP driver, but I do not have the RS-232 driver, which is what I'm currently using. I'm using a serial cable connected to the PLC. So to do this, of course, you have to have a USB adapter. There's a bit much to it. You don't have serial ports on computers anymore. So I have a USB adapter plugged into a 9-pin serial connection, and then from there it goes into a little round connector that plugs into the side of the Micrologix. So when I say add new, it allows you to name the driver anything you want to. You may have reasons to name more than one RS-232 driver. And the easiest way I've seen to do this is to select the COM port that has been chosen. Make sure that your correct platform has been set. Now to find the correct COM port, I'm going to go down here and take a look at my USB connections. In Windows 10, this is easily obtained, most easily obtained through this little settings page. So I can see different devices connected up here. There's my monitor, there is my microphone that I'm using here, and I should see something like this. This is my USB to serial COM port connector, and this is where you find which COM port has been assigned to the USB adapter. So I've got COM 7 here. So now I'm going to go back here and change my COM 1 to COM 7. And then these settings, I could set these, but the easiest way is to simply hit auto configure. If you get an auto configuration successful, you know that all these are set correctly. You know that your communications is correct. So now I've got my DF1 driver running. You can close this. If you'd like to see the processor, go ahead and choose your RSWho, and there I can see my Micrologix. Now I know for a fact that the last project I put in here, though it is named Project 1, it is a different configured project than the one that we created here. So you can close this. The rule on closing RSLinx itself, if it is present down here in your services tray, you can go ahead and close it here, which is on your taskbar. If it's not present here, you don't want to close it on the taskbar, and it will give you a warning, and it will say you're about to lose communications with your device. So you kind of have to keep that in mind. So I'm going to close it here since it's running as a service, and I'm just going to hit download. So if I had said who active download, it might say that it didn't match the processor. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Switch it to remote program mode. It says loss of communications on the other channel may occur. The other channel is my Ethernet channel. So that's okay for now. I can always change this. We're going to go ahead and apply it. Power cycle will be required. Change it back to run mode and go online. And here I am looking at my program. If I want to change my channel, right? Channel 0 was this DF1, which is okay. But channel 1 has a different IP address to it, 192.168.1.1. Now I'm going to look at my IP address and see what the configuration is here. An easy way to do that is to simply go down here and go to Network and Internet Settings. And I have a feeling that my address may not match the adapter. Now here are my Ethernet connections. And to see my address, I can go right here. So I currently have my address set for DHCP. I'm going to set it to a static IP address. Now what I'm doing here is this is going to be a address that I use in my office, and so I'm setting the mask a little bit strangely here. There is no gateway, but the reason for this is the domain has addresses in the 192.168 0 through 3 range, so 0, 1, 2, and 3. To be able to talk to all those devices, you need to change your mask to 255, 255, 252, and that will allow you to talk to all addresses within the domain 0, 1, 2, and 3 here. So I'm going to say OK. That puts me in the same range as my Ethernet port. So now my 192.168.3 address can talk to this 192.168.1 address. This subnet mask doesn't matter as much here because the PLC doesn't need to talk back to the computer. If we were doing a Siemens project, this would matter. So I'm going to say OK. We're going to leave the address right where it is, and I would be able to communicate also on Ethernet. But we're going to do all of our programming here over the serial port. I'm going to add a couple of quick contacts here. We'll do some subroutine calls and things also. So remember, in the previous video, we put an always on and always off bit, B3/0. And notice that was the always off that we created in the previous video. I'm going to change this to a 1 because we want it to be always on. And then I'm going to use a different method to create my always off. Notice also here that I'm not typing in the full address of B3:0/0. I can actually just type in B3/0 and this address will work. That is a shortcut. And I can drag these addresses from the contacts to each other. That is a nice feature of Allen Bradley. Whenever we're editing online, we have to go through several steps to make these active within the processor. First, we have to accept the rung edits. After the edits are accepted, that makes sure that they are okay, that they're legal instructions, legal formats. Then we need to test the edits, and this makes it active inside of the processor. And you see it turns a nice shade of green here. That actually makes this bit come on. And then we can assemble the edits and it becomes a permanent part of the program. The next thing we want to do is we want to call all of these subroutines. The shortcut for that is JSR. If I wanted to, I could also go up here all the way over to program control, and I could choose JSR here. But it's really just easier to type in the mnemonic right here at the beginning of the rung, and it will put it where we want it. So first thing I'm going to do is call subroutine 3. Simply hit a 3 and hit enter. I do like comments, so this calls the system routine. So I'm going to call it system call. Now this symbol, the only reason I'd want to put the symbol in there, as I mentioned in the last video, was as a shortcut, and I don't think I'm going to call this subroutine anymore, so I really don't need the symbol. The comment is enough. I can either copy this rung or I can simply add more rungs, either way. But you can see how hard it was to browse all the way over to that folder and then find that rung. It's a lot easier to go ahead and type in the mnemonic. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Simply type in JSR, and I can put a 4 in here, and I'll put a symbol. This is the inputs. Nice description. We'll do this. This time we'll just copy it and paste it a few times. 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 2 more, 7 and 8. So we'll paste. Paste. Just put a 5 in here. I could have put different comments here. I could have made it maybe outputs SBR for subroutine, whatever you want to do, but you want to make it clear as to what it's doing. Other routines you might want to have in here are things like HMI interface or any other routines that you come up with. It's pretty easy to add the routines. Now we're going to accept these rungs. If I were doing this in Control-Logix, which is another Allen Bradley program, I could quickly finalize all of these instead of having to accept, test, and assemble everything. Now after I've accepted everything one at a time, if I test edits, it tests all of the edits. When I assemble the edits, it assembles all of the edits. So I've done some online editing here. We're going to go ahead and save, always a good idea. When it asks you if you want to upload all the data, if it doesn't take very long, like this, then why not? Sometimes it takes a long time to upload, especially over a serial port. So I may say, no, I don't want to upload the data values. I just want to save what I've typed in here. So at this point, we're going to end this video. We have done our download. We've done some online editing, and we will continue with programming in the system routine in the next video. Thank you.